Hello, this is Dan from About That Life in Japan. Welcome back to the channel. This is a 3D print, a garage kit that I put together maybe about 2-3 months ago. I have a client from Melcati and this is what they requested. I think this was 1/7, 1/6 scale, and it came out pretty well. Now, the thing I like about this and what I've started to do was this was one of my first, well, this was the beginning of when I started to incorporate mostly PLA FDM printing with resin printing. And I'd been doing this for a while with my own, diorama garage kits that I put together and produce, especially for export. But this was a domestic sale here in Japan and came out pretty well. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let's get into today's video. Now, it has been a while since my last video, and I apologize. But this, like I mentioned, was a print that it was a request to build for a garage kit, and I believe this seller sold it on, I don't know, some platform here in Japan. But they did request it in a particular size, I think 1/7, 1/6 scale, and I asked them, to give them a, I don't want to say a reasonable price, but because it was for me, I had other machines doing other things. Would they mind if I incorporated FDM with the print? And this is where I started my, I think, my new endeavor in incorporating FDM, particularly PLA, with resin printing. The base of this was printed on my Creality K1 Max with a 0.04 millimeter nozzle, and I think the layer height was 0.16 or 0.15. And it came out, well, and then pretty fast. I think it printed in, I don't know how long, but it was pretty quick print. The other portions, you can see here, the gray portions are all printed in resin. They were either printed on my DLPs or the Saturn S4, I don't know, but they were printed in resin, you can see. Except for the small accessories, the body, the upper torso, was hollowed out. And stick around to the end. I'll show you what I do to make sure my hollow prints are flawless, especially internally, so that you don't have any messy blow up goo or something like that later on. But the other parts of this I printed, as you can see in the background, maybe I printed in PLA for the desk and the upper part. I think it's the upper part, lower portion of the desk, the legs, and the desk top. Now, this figure sits on this desk, and it would have been a pretty heavy print if it had all been printed in resin. But as you can see, the legs are in this black, and that's PLA. The brown is brown PLA, and then the desk top. And I believe these were printed on the Prusas with 0.06 layer height, excuse me, a 0.06 nozzle and a layer height of 0.15. That's pretty much as low as you can go with the 0.06 nozzle, and they came out pretty nice. This skirt, the lower torso, not the leg, well, the legs as well, but the lower torso and the legs, this was printed in PLA also. This was printed with the, I believe this was printed on the Creality, the K1 Max, 0.04 nozzle, and the layer height was 0.08. And I used that same size for the legs, and they came out very, very, very nicely and light. And that's what I was aiming for. I knew this figure was going to be sitting on this desk, and you just don't want to have heavy resin sitting up high with the fear that it would topple over and fall, and then you have pieces of your figure that is not really cool. This is where I thought, wow, this would be a good opportunity to put together a build like this that will be lighter and also efficient. Efficient because I can have more machines working on different parts of the garage kit at the same time. Don't you look at the quality? Can you see the straps of this dress? I just love 3D printing, and I love the details you can get out of 3D printing. It's just really amazing. Now, this particular sculpt it's nice. I think she had gloves on, and that's why you can't see. But I've printed out some Black Widow prints where the hands, the fingernails, you can actually see fingernails on the hands at 1/8 scale, 1/6 scale for sure. And I think it's just so cool. But anyway, this was printed with, yeah, I thought lightness would be the key here, because she's up on this desk. She's got this long flowing hair, and it is a top heavy print. I mean, the head with the hair and that upper torso, that would have been a heavy print if I had printed it all in resin. But I didn't, and I hollowed it out as well. I mean, most 1/8 and up scale prints are hollowed out anyway. And yeah, this was hollowed out also, but it came out nicely. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up now is because my client, before they started purchasing from me, I don't know what supplier they used. I'm assuming, anyway, I don't know where, but they had some other prints that were also printed in FDM, and they received some complaints. I can't comment because I never received a copy of the material or the prints, but they did receive some complaints about the quality. Since they have switched to me, they have not received any complaints about the quality of the FDM per se, but I did have one comment about and it was a hollow print as well. The print was leaking. The Japanese for it, I don't remember, sweating. I think the Japanese, yeah. I don't want this to come off like a rant, but this particular seller on Mercari chose to make a point, or attempt to make a point, in saying that garage kits printed in any other material other than resin, being PLA, FDM printed, are of a lower quality cost cutting method, and this is not as high quality as resin, and it's more difficult. They are more difficult to put together. Simply saying you're buying a cheaper product because it's not all 100% resin. They've put it up in their little image to say this is all PLA 0. We're all using 100%. They say high quality resin. Now, I'm a 3D printer. I'm not a reseller of. I print out everything I make. I print it out. It comes from me. And I know how much it costs to print things. I know how much materials cost. I know how much high quality resin costs. To be honest with you, there really isn't any high quality resin, in my opinion. High quality resin is what I think Formlabs resin, because they keep you in the closed loop. You're paying $300, $400 here in Japan for a liter of resin, where most resin, ABS-like resin in Japan, is about 4,000 yen per liter. It can get up to, as you can see here on the screen, it can get up to 7,000 yen for 2 liters. Now, if it had a huge diorama base and it just had so many so many pieces, yeah, I'm going to charge them I would have to charge them for my time. But the difference, I can't see how the difference in the price would be comparable to the quality, because it is all resin printed and not a mixture of resin and FDM. Because again, I have some FDM materials that PC that I've used in automobiles that are, of course, heat resistant, and they go in engine bays, and they can deal with sustained car being on the circuit and not have issues with warping, cracking, breaking, failing, anything like that. But that's my FDM, and I charge accordingly. I'm not going to use that material in a 10,000 yen garage kit. That's just ridiculously inefficient, and it's just useless. It's a waste. Just because I'm not using the most expensive heat resistant material in FDM doesn't mean it is cheap. And this is the ignorance of this statement that I was reading here. This person seemed to think that high-end resin kits are high-end because they're not using FDM or FDM materials to print. That is just ridiculous. Now, that's their stick to try and sell whatever they want to do for whatever price they want to sell it at. That's fine. What I want people to understand is, don't get lost in the sauce. Don't get mixed up in thinking that FDM is a cheaper form of 3D printing. As a manufacturer, I don't associate FDM garage kits as being cheap. or resin garage kits as being expensive. It's all about how much effort it takes to produce that kit, because I can make a cheap resin kit by just hollowing it out. That's all. Hollow it out as much as possible. Make those walls as thin as possible, 1.1 millimeter thin if you want, or even less if it's a smaller scale. And hollow it out as much as possible, and boom, you've saved yourself an incredible amount of money. Where I feel the advantage with using resin and FDM in garage kit production is time and efficiency. I can print out a whole garage kit from the diorama base to the actual figure, accessories, and everything in a matter of hours, because I have a whole bunch of machines working on that one kit if I choose to do so. That is the advantage in incorporating FDM with the production of garage kits for me. So getting back to the figure, as I mentioned early on in the video, I hollow out my prints. And to make sure I have no issues with these hollowed out prints, you want to make sure you have cured any resin that might be stuck inside the print. This will make sure that this UV light will hit these areas, and any stuck resin should be cured. This is something I recommend for anyone to use, everyone to use, especially if you're printing hollow prints. It just will save you. I have some prints that I printed out from years ago when I first got started into resin printing. And again, it's a boon if the file creator hollows them out beforehand. It's a big help, but it's also a pain because I do like smaller scale diorama, the ones that I produce myself or the ones that I make myself and actually paint up and sell or put together and sell. They're on the smaller scale, smaller size, one below 1/12 and below. And I like them a lot. And if the files come hollowed out, it's actually a pain, because even though they're hollow, you reduce the size, they still have these little pockets of air that'll get stuck, and resin will get stuck in there. And I have a couple models that from when I first started out, they have exploded. I mean, like literally exploded, and resin leaks everywhere. This is something you really don't want to happen. And this is something this little tool can help you avoid this. So that's it for this video. Here's another look at the garage kit, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think down below. Is PLA or is FDM printing with resin printing, is that something that you would be interested in if you were buying garage kits? And if so, why? If not, why not? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And let me know what you think about the quality. I mean, it's all a matter of opinion. I mean, sure, you can get the best looking resin kits and still need to do a lot of work if they have a lot of support marks. You can see from my kit, from this kit in particular, I mean, supports are really, yeah, it was not an issue. I had supports on all of them, all of this actually. But yeah, you can see from the kit, it's pretty nice. Everyone take care. Thanks for watching.